We should, by the end of today, I hope, I don't know where Greg's at, but I hope he's ready to work because I want to have that entire back wall as well as this entire sidewall over here wrapped up with WeatherLogic before tomorrow, which should be close to 40 degrees, and all that snow is gonna melt and turn to mush. So we got a big day ahead of us. I'm gonna kind of share with you guys today why I like WeatherLogic, why we're using it here, why we're not just doing metal, but that'll all be in the video, so let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so the first piece that I gotta put up is actually an angled piece up in the gable, and Greg just shot me the measurement to the long point. What that means is, if you look up there at the gable, the sheet that we're gonna put on, the left side of it is the long point, and it's going downhill. I always get the question in my comments, how do you know how to cut that angle, what the measurements are? And here's what I'm gonna tell you. Greg gave me an 80, Greg, what was it, 84 and a quarter? 85 and a quarter. First lesson, always double check your measurements because you can always recheck measurements, it's hard to recut. So 85 and a quarter is my high point. Now I have a 512 roof system up there, which means every foot in run, I go up or down 5 inches. I'm going downhill, which means on this sheet, which is 48 inches, I'm gonna go down 4 feet times 5 inches, 20 inches. So high side 85 and a quarter, low side 65 and a quarter, and that is my cut without having to get all these measurements. And I know if I install my sheathing plumb and level, that this is gonna work out just fine. So I'll set that in there. I don't have to snap lines, and typically it's just a super simple cut, and it's always gonna be like perfectly straight. The old grabbo. Let's see, I'm gonna come here. I'm thinking I want it here. Especially when you're up on a wall and you lose your ability to put your fingers here, you just hold it right where it belongs. I don't know why I didn't get these out yesterday when we started. Oh, and just so you guys know, because I know somebody's gonna ask me the question, what nails are you using? These are 131s, ring shank, exterior galvanized. I think they're 2 3/8.
.113s.
This gun is new to us. It's a coil framer. It does a really good job setting these nails. We're enjoying it. All right, guys, first thing that I want to clarify before we go any further is why are we running our sheets vertical versus horizontal, which is what you see every other build out in the United States getting done. And that is because, well, if the cameraman were to turn his camera at like a 90-degree angle, this wall section would look very similar to a stick frame. And then our sheets are running horizontal. Now that might have been a little bit trippy, but I think you get the point. Our framing is running horizontal, so we're running perpendicular. We don't have to do that. The WeatherLogic is a struck one panel, which means basically it works in all orientations. You don't have to stagger your joints. As long as you follow your nailing pattern, you don't have to worry about which way it goes. But I feel better running it perpendicular to our girts, and I don't think it really takes a whole lot extra effort for us. Yeah, we kind of got to go up and down, but here in the Mega Deck, it's quite simple anyway. So I just wanted to clarify that right off the bat. That's why we're running it horizontal. And there's still gonna be somebody asking me in the comments. In fact, somebody has already wrote it in the comments. Because we're coming into this new section, I kind of made a mistake in that I know when we go to do the sheathing, it's not exactly 4 foot, and I like to start in the middle of my building with my sheathing and work to the corners. Whatever issue that may arise or error in the layout, it kind of gets spread across both sides, not compounded all the way 80 feet down the wall to the other end. We're just kind of recalibrating ourselves so that when we get to the other end, we don't have like a 1/2 inch rip or something that needs to go up that corner. So we're just spacing this one out just a hair more and starting with a nice fresh line. So one thing I like about the WeatherLogic is that These nails, you don't actually have to cover them to keep it a weather tight panel as long as you don't overdrive them. So when you're looking at these nails here, I just changed the depth because I wasn't liking the depth of drive. This is beautiful. You can tap it and see how it's just nice and flush. It hasn't done any damage. You're not showing the OSB interior because this panel is an integrated WRB. So weather resistant barrier has been applied to the OSB. This takes place of having to do any house wrap. I am a huge fan of this because when you're out on a job site working all day and you have house wrap on a structure that is getting hit with wind, it can be the most annoying. I don't even know what the word is. What would be the word to describe your feeling, Greg, when the house wrap is flapping?
Rage.
100%. With this, we're literally done installing our house wrap once the panel is installed, which is installed like every other panel. So it's like one entire less step. You don't have to come back over and house wrap it. We do, however, have to tape the joints, but I honestly find that easy because it takes literally no skill to run tape over a joint. When you're thinking about flashing details, going around windows, up over roofs, house wrap has a little bit of detail work that you have to consider. With this, you just tape it, make sure you've applied pressure with a squeegee or a roller or something, and your money. So that's another thing I really like about this panel is I don't have to think much, and I just install it like a normal structural panel, and then we're basically weather tight after it's done. Yeah, so this right here didn't set properly. I actually would rather have this than one that sets too deep, because we're just gonna come in and just pound that sucker flush, and then I always like to just throw one more next to it because when you're pounding, things can bounce around, and I just want a nice secure connection with those ring shanks. Don't be afraid to underdrive those nails with your gun and then come back and hit them with a hammer. It will be a better end result, I promise. I'll lumber here. Rotate. Ready. One thing that we do whenever we have these cut joints, we do run the cut joint up into the building because this is gonna get a tape seam, and we leave the factory painted edge down here at the bottom. Even though this is also gonna get taped, I just figure until we get that tape on, this is a less, I guess, less coverage.
This will get taped first before we do the
Exactly. So good job, buddy, on doing that.
Yep.
I didn't know if you meant to. I mean, I assumed you did, but.
Learn from the best.
No, you didn't.
I saw it on Instagram.
The other sheet's like an eighth higher.
I don't really know what you just told me.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, buddy.
Going downhill though.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's really hard.
You didn't hear a thing I said, did you? Huh?
You know, something that people continually ask me about sheathing with Weatherlogic is, do you need to gap it? We do gap it. I just always use a shingle nail just because I've always got them in my pouch, super handy, and when we're setting those sheets, we just use that as our guide. You have to gap the sheathing because of expansion and contraction. The last thing you want is if you go tight and then moisture, you know, just natural, you know, the humidity in the air gets in and changes. Like right now, we're in the winter, it's very dry. This will expand, and if we go tight, it's gonna cause issues. So yes, always space your sheathing. The manufacturer of your sheathing is going to give you a recommended spacing, so just follow it. Weatherlogic, you gotta space it, so that's what we do. Okay, so now that we have this Weatherlogic installed, we need to tape all the joints. We have learned this lesson. Listen, if you don't do this now, okay, look at what's happening in this moment. We have melt coming off that roof, hitting the mud and dripping against our wall. So you can see what it's gonna do. It's gonna make it all nasty. I have this board to protect me because what I'm going to do right now, before I start taping the actual Weatherlogic joints, is I'm gonna tape the concrete to sheathing connection. This is a very important detail, one that people skip all the time, and where your problems can arise, both from an air control point of view and moisture coming up and getting into your sheathing from the bottom side. So what we have is Fentrum. We've been using this now in the last few jobs, especially the high-end builds where we're looking for a much better end result, something that's a house, a barn dominium, and that's kind of what this is. This is a high-performance build. So you could definitely use this. It's not cheap. I mean, it would be cheaper to just leave it, right? But that's not what I'm looking to do. And this product from Sega is amazing. I don't have to prime my concrete. I'm just gonna make sure it's clean. We went around and we brushed this off. You can kind of see the difference. It will stick to the concrete. It will stick in cold. So I'm not worried about in the cold right now, these materials not allowing this tape to stick. So you'll see how that goes in. And what I'm going to do first though is this is a 4-inch tape. To make my job easier, I'm just gonna take my square and I'm gonna run it down the length of the building and just give myself like 1 3/4 inch line. And the reason I'm doing 1 3/4 inch is because you'll see I have a little bit of an overhang. If I went 2 inches, then it would, tuck back and not have 2 inches down on the concrete. I'm actually more interested in adhering to the concrete, so I'm gonna shift my line down so that I get a good 2 inches on my concrete. So let's go ahead and get into this while Greg starts wrapping these horizontal lines up with some Weatherlogic tape. Now, I know what you guys may be thinking, isn't there a better way to do this, like a chalk line? So a chalk line introduces too much dust. I would feel better not having a chalk line with all that dust. I guess you could snap it, come back with a blower, blow all the excess off and still see your line, but I also don't think this is that big of a deal. Another benefit to this is if I just eyeballed this center, I could probably do okay, but if you don't have a straight line and then you try to fold it underneath and then back down like a little Z, you definitely will be introducing some fish mouthing, which is not good in tapes. That introduces air, water, and problems. So we want to try to be as straight and consistent as possible. We'll make the tape install in the end a lot better. All right, so this is the Fentrum 430, and it is a 4-inch roll that has the split backing. The reason I like that is because, well, I'm gonna be putting half of it on the wall and then coming back and putting the other half on the concrete. So what I can do is go ahead and pull the first backing, and I'm just going to try to run it right here on my line. Now, the other thing that I've learned over the years is I don't want to stretch this too hard, and it sticks so beautiful. It is amazing how good it does stick. So I'm just gonna kind of work it out as I go, trying not to stretch it and just hitting my pencil line. And you may think that, that looks really easy. In theory, it should be pretty easy, but for some reason, it can get off on you and then you start getting some fish mouth, which we don't want that. So I just, I'm just trying to share the wisdom from what I've learned is don't try to pull it tight. Trying to keep it somewhat loose, and I think it has to do with the fact that one side has the backing on it still, and I feel like that maybe prevents it from having a little bit of stretch to it or something. I'm not really sure, because I don't feel like I notice this when there's not two sides of backing. Now what I'm gonna do is come back here and I'll show you what we're gonna do here. I'm just gonna clean as much of this dirt off. Let's go ahead and get this started. And then what I like to do is kind of just reach up in here, and I'm tucking that back there on that 1/2-inch sheathing that's protruding out past my wall. And then we're just gonna take our handy dandy squeegee, I guess, and we're gonna try to eliminate any fish mouthing. Look at that, look at the way it goes right in that groove of that concrete. That is, I know you guys can't feel how hard I'm pulling it, but it's amazing how well that sticks to the concrete. So then that's just kind of what I'm gonna do, is I'm just gonna kind of feel this in like so. And then I just kind of get it down. And I do run my squeegee over all of this because that's how you get it to stick. But look at that beautiful detail. Now this is gonna be an airtight detail. No air is gonna be coming in at my sill plate, which is probably where most people have super huge inefficiencies in their home, is at the sill. So I think this is a great product. For the price, I think it's a total win on any build. Look at that. And it is amazing how good it sticks to concrete. We're just gonna do the old start-stop. because I just wanted YouTube to know that it was possible.
Yep.
That if you can't run the tape perfect, then just start and stop it.
Start again. What about like a 2 to 4 inch overlap?
Yeah, about a 4-inch overlap is what I would do. That's about that big, 4 inches. It's a pretty average overlap. I think that seems to be industry average. You usually go 4 inches. I don't know what's so funny about that. Gone.
Whatever.
Ah, some good-looking fence trim, my guy. Oh, my back. Sorry, I'm not complaining. Feel great, like a young man. Whew.
Much further.
Bro, this is a delicate process. It doesn't just happen.
You good? Got it?
No. There, set it down.
There's no way. There's no way. How'd that fall off my pouch?
I don't know. I think it'll be okay, though, buddy. Hey, here. You want to warm up your hands? Come here and put your hand in my pocket. Just if you guys are curious, I don't want Greg to put his hands in my pockets for the fun of it. I've got this little hand warmer. It's from Okupa. I bought this on Amazon. I give like $30, and it came with 2 of these. They magnetically stick together if you want them to last longer. I don't know how that works, maybe through induction or something, but it just charges with a little USB-C. I got the whole morning with one at half heat, and I still had battery. I've only got this at half heat, and I'm telling you, this thing is awesome. So I don't like wearing gloves. I just keep my hand in my pocket for about 2 seconds while I'm walking to the next thing or whatever. It warms my hand right back up, and then I'm good to go. So I've been trying to get Greg to warm his hands in my pocket, but that's it. He's not going to get to keep this. This is going to stay in my pocket. Sorry, Greg. Next time, maybe. Maybe Santa Claus, if you're good, maybe Santa Claus will bring you one.
I don't have time to put my hands in my pocket.
Oh, okay.
I got work to do.
Okay.
Like, what could be more enjoyable than just laying foundation tape with your friend?
Got me, dude. I'm gonna think about it, but
You won't think it.
I won't find another.
You won't find anything.
All right. So there's the fence room for the bottom. Honestly, I'm so glad that we got this done. We always wait till the wrong time to do this. So now we can go ahead and continue, and we'll run our Weatherlogic tape right over top of that. Perfect detail. I love it. Look at that, guys. I'm pumped. You know, even though I wanted to get this wall and the end wall done today, I really thought we could have done that if we just installed the sheathing, but Greg and I decided it was the best idea to go ahead and put all of our tape on now while the sheets are clean, free of dust, free of snow, frost, rain, moisture, all that stuff that could come at a later date if we didn't do it now, especially the fence room down at the bottom. So, you know what? I think it's a little bit of delayed gratification going on because I think I would have been happy to see this wall over here completely done. I'm actually probably more happy that this is all done, taped, and ready to go. So tomorrow we'll get over here before the sun comes up and starts melting, which this is the north side, so it shouldn't be too bad. And we'll keep moving around the building. Well, we did not get this wall done like I wanted to yesterday, guys, and it's gonna be 40 degrees today. All this snow should get melted, which is gonna cause a muddy mess. So Greg and I, we're gonna get hopped right into this, get on this wall, and I'm hoping to do a little bit of fun here on this wall, so stay tuned for it. It's a lot of repetitious installation, so probably not a lot of video, a lot of time lapse, a lot of clips, but wait for the final reveal of this wall. I think it's gonna be kind of cool. Not to mention just, I think it's gonna look great once it's done, you know?
Yeah, we might.
see. This one will be centered, Greg. We'll router that. All right, I think we made it just in time because this is just now starting to get muddy. Remember, I gotta fix this post down here, so I'm gonna leave this last piece so all the sheets are installed. We had a little bit of fun with this wall. I think once we get the tape up, maybe get a little view from afar, maybe with the drone, it'll make more sense. And we'll talk about why we did what we did with this wall pattern. So time to start getting some tape on. I care about you. All right, that is the tape. And this is my patent pending trademark technique. Yeah, taping technique. It's called the double fister. I probably should think of a different name for that, huh?
Yeah.
But I like it because it's a nice balanced way to get the wetted edge on both sides of the tape. So about this panel pattern, okay, as we step back here, maybe we'll insert a little drone shot of this wall. Greg and I thought, you know what? I get so many questions about the layout of our panels. Why either do you run them up and down? Why do you stagger them? Like all these questions. And we thought, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Why do we? We don't really care. It doesn't matter. We can run this sheet all the way across and then layer another row right across it. We don't have to stagger. It's a struck one panel. It doesn't matter. So we thought, why not just have fun with it? We'll do a little, is this a parquet floor, I think is what you'd call it. I don't know. We just thought, what the heck, let's do it. And it's gonna get covered up anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But yes, you don't have to worry about the direction of this panel. You just have to make sure you follow your nailing pattern. So this wall's done, minus this one sheet that we gotta do a little bit of work on this column that we don't like. It's about a 1/4 inch out. And we got tons of drip. We got a lot of melt going on the roof. So that's going to be the next video, guys. We're gonna hopefully get up on this roof, frame in some valley overframes. So show you how we do that. If that's something you're interested in, maybe hit that subscribe button, follow along. I got my standing seam metal order. I put that list together last night. We've got Versetta stone coming. We've got Smart Side. It's gonna be killer. I'm pretty pumped, but we still got a long ways to go, so follow along with this journey. I'm gonna go ahead and get working on this roof for the next video. We'll catch you later.